Do people actually like get asked on dates in real life? Like people come up to you, like attractive people that you would want to go on a date with, come up to you and ask you to go on a date, and then like they want to take you on a date? That has like literally actually never happened to me in my entire life.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
I'm about to use my ability to overanalyze everything by using a borderline minute detail based entirely on your living space. And judging from the fact that you have a skylight and a raised ceiling, I think it's safe to assume that you live in a place where the rent is kind of on the high side. In that regard, you probably command a somewhat decent salary to accommodate such a living space. You probably demand someone of a higher caliber and financial status. The problem is, because of your line of work, you act stuck up and bossy to everyone who you think is beneath you. So you ultimately decide to treat a majority of the men who do ask you out like trash, and the remaining men want nothing to do with you because you're a solid 5 4/5 in the looks department, and you misuse the word literally, and that's like nails on chalkboard to any man with 2 brain cells.
I know it, your family knows it, dogs know it.
The closest thing today I was going to get lunch with my friends, and I was walking, and this like 65-year-old man stopped me and goes, "Hey, do you happen to be single?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, you're beautiful." He was literally 65 years old. So that's what I get.
Alrighty, so not only do you not have a solid grasp on basic vocabulary, you're also a terrible liar. If that dude was 87 years old and had money, well, let's just say you'd be wearing that old man stank as your perfume. The problem isn't that men are not asking you out on dates. It's the fact that rich men aren't talking to you, mainly because rich men have better options, and let's face it, most men of that particular status wouldn't even ask you out on a date if they were triple dog dared. And there are men out there who will get into fistfights with bears if they're triple dog dared. So let that sink in, because your filthy dust chute of unending sadness simply is not worth the hassle.
People go on dates, and the people that get asked on the dates, and they want to go on the dates, and they do. That's crazy, you guys. That's crazy.
This is just so shocking. I mean, I must just be so monumentally naive.
You are.
No, it's not crazy at all. You see, woman, men know you're not worth the time and effort to date. Sure, if they're lowering their standards and are on the right drugs and feeling desperate and shameful, they might be talked into some awkward bounce house time in the back of their shaggin' wagon, but they're not gonna take you out to dinner, you're not gonna meet his parents, you're not gonna get married or have your dream house or anything of the sort, all because you decided to focus on all of the wrong things. Such are the consequences of terrible life choices. Face it, lady, you're a woman
whose life must be an unendurable hellscape of excruciating sadness.
Work until we have to die just for the privilege of being alive? Huh? Like, we never asked to be born, but now we're obligated to do labor until we die. Huh? We have to work somewhere just to afford a house that we're never at because we're working to afford the house. Huh?
Oh, poor you!
Well, no, nobody says you have to work. Have you considered the life of a vagrant? I hear it's awesome. You don't have to pay rent or bills or taxes. You can sleep pretty much anywhere you want, and your main source of income, outside of generous government subsidies, is begging people on the sidewalk for spare change and food. Are you a single mother with a kid? Just parade that little spawn around and you'll get double the money at the end of the day, guaranteed. Sure, your personal belongings will be limited to whatever shopping carts you're able to steal, and regular bathing will be a thing of the past. Just prepare yourself for constant knife fights or selling yourself for, well, let's just say you're gonna wish you washed regularly.
Ew, what a mess. Ew, ew, ew.
Is the meaning of life to work and pay taxes and then die? On top of that, we also have to work to afford our vehicle to get to work in other places and afford gas just to get to work. And we also have to pay taxes for our roads to drive on to get to work. With the privilege of food, which we should just be able to have, pretty much just work and die.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Woman, you need to stop drinking paint thinner because despite what TikTok may have told you, it's not going to make you smarter. Now, I could spend the next hour carefully explaining to you the basic economics behind supply chains and how taxation, though a legalized form of thievery, is a part of living in this country. However, I don't think there's enough crayons and construction paper on this planet to make it simple enough for you to comprehend. But here's a little financial tip for you. Maybe instead of spending money on having a guy permanently mark words on your neck, maybe, and I'm just spitballing here, spend your money a little bit more wisely. Oh wait, that's right, I forgot. Your brain doesn't work. Sorry, Toots. I keep forgetting how wasteful it is to talk to useless idiots such as yourself.
Shut your dirty little mouth!
And then we have to work for our children to go to school to learn how to work. So our children know how to work for their children so that their children can go to school and go to work. Like, somebody tell me that this is fair. Like, is it lazy to just want to enjoy life? Like, why do we have to work? Why? I'm stressed.
Nobody cares, Sean. Nobody cares.
In order to answer that question, we gotta take a stroll down Tinfoil Alley. The current education system we have was developed by the Rockefellers as a means of creating a massive army of compliant workers. They're taught the basics of how to read, write, do math, but not enough to become better people. They're conditioned to bow down to authority and operate on the same schedule as a compliant worker. They're brainwashed into thinking that what they're receiving is an education and they'll tell their children to do likewise. However, over the years, as being able to read and write become less and less demanding, schools have become indoctrination centers to brainwash children into following certain political ideologies in order to put forth the agenda of a cabal of evil billionaires whose goal it is to take control of the entire planet. But that's nothing but a bunch of conspiracy theories being propagated by orange lizard people. So I'm gonna let you go back to enjoying your life the only way you know how, by getting tattoos all over your face and binge watching The Office. Have a nice life, woman.
In order to keep a man interested and to keep him coming back for more, you're going to want to do this one thing. Now, we all know that men are hunters. They love to chase what they can't have. They love to go after what they can't get. Because this is an innate quality, an innate characteristic, we as women get to play with it in our advantage.
Woman, your brain must be made of 30% bubble wrap because chasing and hunting are two completely different concepts. Hunters don't chase, they track. Though hunting can be thrilling, it takes a lot of time, energy, and focus. So naturally, hunters want the path of least resistance to try and achieve maximum gain for the minimal amount of energy spent. That's why you don't normally see lions going after the youngest and fastest gazelle for their dinner. The same rule applies for men in dating. If they think it's gonna be a pain in the ass, they're not going to bother. It's also the exact same reason why I collect bounties on petty intergalactic space criminals and not interstellar crime syndicate bosses.
Because men are hunters, they want what they can't have. The one thing you're going to want to do is allow the man to get uncomfortable. Allow him to get to a space where he gets to question what he means to you. What do I mean to her? What is this? Typically, as women, we're always the one questioning, what is this? When's the commitment going to come? We start to get wobbly in our confidence and we start to want more from the man. While that's natural, it's beautiful to want more. Women want love, men want freedom. You get to play with the freedom that the man wants.
Day and night she talks. Each word more useless than the next.
Wow, you are just shockingly terrible at this. Men want to be loved just as much as women. They also want to be respected and appreciated. Now, to normal folks, this is obvious, but you're clearly so high off the smell of your own sanctimonious queefs that you are in desperate need of a reminder. Second, if a man accepts a woman into his life, generally speaking, of course, he's going to want peace. He's going to want that woman to make his life easier to help ease the stresses of life. You know what the opposite of that is? Emotional manipulation. By doing what you're proposing, you're not gonna make him long for you. All you're gonna do is confuse the guy and ultimately piss him off. he'll assume that you're not really all that into him and he's just gonna check out. Because at the end of the day, much like a hunter, sometimes it's just not worth the hassle.
Starts with you turning inward, looking at your shadows when it comes to dating, looking at places where you don't feel whole, looking at parts of yourself that wants this partner to complete you. And you get to do that work within yourself. You get to come to a place of wholeness. You get to focus on you and become the queen that you know you are. And because your energy is focused inward on becoming the best version of yourself, rather than outward on getting something from him, you naturally put yourself in the position for him to hunt, for him to chase.
That does not make sense.
So your advice to women is to deal with your trauma and then men are gonna chase you. No, that's not how it works. You expect men to do those exact same things, but to get it done before they even consider dipping a toe in the dating pool. But what you're saying is that if a woman makes the mere attempt of dealing with her baggage, that's enough to attract a man? That's not how it works, you stupid broad. If you have those kind of issues, there is no healing journey on the face of the planet that's gonna help you. Men do not chase women, especially women who have trauma, trust issues, and baggage from previous relationships. And if you are incapable of understanding that, then there's no hope for you whatsoever.
Because you're not always available, because you're pouring into yourself, because you're not going to drop everything just to go hang out with him, because you're not begging for answers or begging for his time, he starts to get uncomfortable. He starts to ask himself, what do I mean to her? And that mystery alone will put him into his hunting role, where he gets to go hunt and chase you as you just frolic as the queen you are.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid. Now wait just a minute. And you're ugly, just like your mum.
Oh, okay, so your plan is to ignore the guy. You're not gonna make time to hang out with him, you're not gonna answer his questions, you're gonna put your friends over his feelings, and you're gonna more or less treat him like dirt. And you think that this is going to make him fawn over you. He's just gonna assume that you're using him and that you're not interested, and he'll ultimately kick your ass to the curb to find somebody who's more worthy of his time and will treat him with respect and dignity. And when it's all said and done and the fallout is cleared, the only thing you'll find yourself frolicking through is a massive wall of empty wine boxes. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. As always, if you find that my particular brand of humor is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button and ring the notification bell so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.